Yes, guys, welcome back to SFeatleyTV. It's the Sheffield United versus Arsenal preview. I've got Hal Stewart from the Sheffield United Way YouTube channel. How are yourself, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure.
No, absolute pleasure to have you on. Gonna bring Bargav into it now. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, how are yourself, Bargav?
Good, man. It's a pleasure. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Just go through some of the comments already. Everyone subscribe. We are only 6 away from the 1K. From the 1K. Let's go. Let's smash that like button as well. Screw VAR. That Firmino goal should have stood. But yeah, make sure you do.
Really helps us out. Thanks.
Yeah, do smash that like button. Yeah, big up.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, lucky you. You get a hair trim. Right, I'm still waiting.
I have to get mine grows really fast, so I have to get one every 1 or 2 months, and then maintain that. So
yeah, same here.
Mine grows extremely fast. You'll see me 1 month, and then it's it's all over the place. So
yeah,
it's a blessing. It's a blessing and a curse too.
Yeah, Sheffield United. We'll start with since they're the home team, obviously. Let's just say it's been a sort of an awful season for Sheffield United. Sitting at the bottom of the table, looking like they're going to get. It's more than when they're going to get relegated, rather than if. Yeah, but what do you make of obviously Sheffield United season? Obviously, Chris Wilder is no longer there. What do you make of it, Hal?
It's been the worst season of my entire life. It's been absolutely awful. I've hated every second of it, and I can't wait till we're relegated and it's all over.
Yeah, I would say for sort of an example, do you feel with the pandemic and the fact that they've got no fans at the stadium? So I remember when Arsenal lost 1-0 last season at Sheffield United, and yeah, the fans were so vocal back then. Do you feel? I've always felt since the first lockdown and we had football back, Sheffield United have been struggling, and I was wondering whether the fact of having no fans at the ground has really played a part in this.
It's impossible to know, of course, and that every club's had the same issue. We were fifth when fans were last in. I was at the game against Norwich in March of last year, the last game we could actually go to. Obviously, we won because we were winning every game, it felt like 1-0 last season. And fans played a huge part in that game. As you mentioned, when we played Arsenal last season, we also won 1-0. Again, that was our only kind of score line. We never really scored more than one. And we were really tight at the back. We have lost Dean Henderson, so that's a huge loss. Aaron Ramsdale's come in. He's done very well. He'll probably be our player of the season. But I think injuries really have been too much for us to cope with. We've got a very small squad. Most of our players are from League One and the Championship on free transfers. We've thrown a bit of cash around this season. It hasn't really worked. But without Jack O'Connell, Chris Basham and John Egan for large parts, it's been impossible with the players that have come in, like Keane Bryan. Good player. I like him. But he's probably not Premier League class as much as I really wish that he was. And he tries really hard. But without Sanderberger and those three that I just mentioned, for large parts of the season, it's been a tall order and it's been too much. And of course, with the pandemic and the way that we came back after that, we looked very sluggish. It's all culminated in the worst season. And I say the worst season because we haven't even been able to go there as fans to actually vent and get some of that frustration out, as well as all the awful performances on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sort of makes me feel guilty in a way as an Arsenal fan to think it's we've had such a terrible season. I think for Arsenal standards, it has been. As you could quite clearly see, I want the manager out because I just don't feel he's good enough and he's not getting the best out of what he's got. But what do you make of Arsenal this season?
Well, I'd love 42 points, and I'd love to be in the Europa League, and I felt we would have been in Europe had the virus not happened. We were just on that crest of a wave. Winning breeds success, and I think we would have just carried on. We were about to go to Newcastle on the day that Arteta, of course, it was actually who got the coronavirus, and the Premier League decided that's it. We'll halt games. It was the day before Newcastle away. We were told it was still happening. Got my ticket, ready to go. Newcastle without their keepers. We would have gone to Newcastle. We would have won. And then I think we'd have kicked on, and we'd be talking about Sheffield United in the Europa League. It would have been so different. We could have attracted different players, and I think we'd sort of cemented ourselves in the Premier League. So looking at Arsenal's problems, it's all relative. Even millionaires have problems, and they're the kind of problems we would love. And Arsenal fans will think that's ridiculous. And obviously, as an Arsenal fan, you'll expect that you should be doing much better. And I guess there'll be Arteta in and there'll be Arteta out kind of people. I look at it from afar and think I can understand why Arsenal fans are frustrated. But at the same time, the problems we've got, I think, are so much bigger, and they will probably last for 13 to 14 years. Like the last time we were relegated from the Premier League in 06-07, it took us 13 years to get back. We now don't even have a manager. We'll lose our best players. I think we're going to have real problems, the kind of problems that Arsenal have never experienced, having never been relegated from the Premier League.
Yeah, Bhargav, what's your feelings?
I get that perspective. I mean, it's all it's all relative in that sense. One thing I wanted to ask is, what were the expectations for you guys at the beginning of the season? And I guess, the second thing is, what are the I think your manager came out with, a statement just recently that he's looking towards, the next 8 games in a positive note, just to find out the players to keep and how to, build around. Who are the key players you're looking to build around? And what do you expect for the rest of the season in that regard?
Well, 2 very good questions. What did we expect? I think realistically we expected mid-table, because we thought we played really well. It was like someone had gone into Football Manager in the data editor and edited all our players' abilities, because they just overperformed so much last season in the Premier League. The players that we had that had come on the journey from League One with us, players like John Lundstrom, who wasn't even a regular in the Championship for us. Mark Duffy was regular. And then we bring him in, and he looked like a world beater last season. He's been terrible this season, but so many of them have. Last season, our players just overperformed, and it was a joy to watch. So we thought this season we'd actually improved the squad on paper. We'd only lost Dean Henderson. We'd added players. We've added Rhian Brewster. Big money signings, Aaron Ramsdale, the kind of money Sheffield United never spent. Our record signing before that had been £4 million. And then suddenly we're throwing around 20+ million pounds. It's just not what we're used to. So we thought realistically it's probably 10th. If we were to ask every Sheffield United fan, the average would have been 10th. And the players to look out for, the sort of stars, I mean, they've not really performed this season as we expected. So I'd say David McGoldrick, who couldn't buy a goal last season. This season he's our top scorer, but the rest of the team haven't really been chipping in. John Fleck always plays well, always contributes, scored against Arsenal away last season. If they're fit, obviously, Jack O'Connell is our most important player. He is our Virgil van Dijk. Without him, we look completely different, because the way we play football is we have 3 centre-backs, 2 of which attack. Down the wings, the overlapping centre-backs. You don't really see it unless you watch Atalanta or Sheffield United. Well, we haven't had Basham and O'Connell to be able to play together this season for more than 2 games. And the players that have come in haven't been able to overlap as centre-backs. So our entire game plan has been out the window.
So 3-5-2, right? There's very few teams that I think Benfica play the same way also. 3-5-2. There's a couple. It's a very interesting formation. The teams that play it, they do play it really well. Do you look at McBurney? I think that's the striker. He's I think you guys are giving a lot the youth a little bit more opportunity at this time. Is that correct? And trying to see what's going to happen for next season.
No, we're not. That's what we want to happen. We are
happen.
persisting with the same. It's like John Lundstrom, who I mentioned. He's leaving. He's going at the end of the season. We want to throw in some of our youngsters. Let's see what they can do. But we haven't. Iliman and Dai came on against Leicester and played really well. We haven't seen him since. We threw in Hackford, 16-year-old against Palace, played 5 minutes, had a shot on target. That's rare for us. And we haven't seen him since. Kyron Gordon's been on the bench loads of times. There's interest from Manchester United, Man City and Liverpool with him. Hasn't played a game yet. So actually, we're very frustrated. We want to see these youngsters. We've got an exceptional academy. Our academy has produced Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We've brought through the likes of Kyle Norton, Kyle Walker, Harry Maguire. You've recently seen Che Adams, of course, who's done very well in the Premier League. Phil Jagielka, Billy Sharp. We produce good footballers.
I think from obviously, do you feel that that some of the sort of the youth you've got coming, or some of the young sort of the younger players you've got will sort of be key for next season in the championship next season? And do you feel that Sheffield United could make if they manage to keep some players, they manage to be able to sort of automatically try and bounce back into the Premier League, a bit like what Norwich are doing this season?
Yeah, Norwich have kept their manager, and we haven't. So it depends who we appoint as manager. I would be very interested to see. The youngsters, of course, I can't possibly comment because I haven't seen enough of them. I've seen in total 10 minutes of the 3 players I just mentioned, so I don't know how good they really are. There's lots of names knocking about. Frankie Maguire is one we're very excited about. Zach Brunt is one we're very excited about. But we'll have to wait and see if they can cope with Championship football, which is the hardest league to get out of. If we get in the playoffs, we won't go up. We never go up in the playoffs. So we would have to probably win the Championship to actually get back up. And it will all depend on who we appoint.
I think, yeah, I mean, like, it's always probably a struggle to try and get automatically promoted back up into the Premier League, but I feel with Sheffield United, it's just I think the injuries, not just the injuries, but that second season where sort of teams sort of discover how you play. I think a lot of teams last season were sort of astonished how disciplined, the work ethic. I mean, you look at the game against Arsenal when you won 1-0, you could see the work ethic between Arsenal's and Sheffield United's, and the work ethic obviously was paying off because you would have players that would dive in front of anything to save a goal or score one. But I feel with this season I wouldn't say the work ethic's not there.
No, I think you can say that.
Oh, well, but I just feel that some teams are sort of clocked on to how you play and work their way around it. Would you say that's something you agree with?
No, I think you're right with the work ethic. Last season, they were, and we actually have watched clips of games from last season to this and compared them, and it's the same players in the midfield and up front. It's not the same in defence. And that's why I would say we haven't been worked out, because we're not playing the same players at the back, and our defence is how we attack. So we're not doing the overlapping centre-backs thing this season, which you could argue second season, if we carried on playing exactly like last season, yes, it could have been exploited, but we're playing very differently and we're not creating anywhere near as much. We were so attack-minded. We're hardly creating. I think we create roughly 1 chance a game. We don't normally take it. The sort of top scorer for us this season will be own goals. And if we don't get penalties or set pieces, we just don't really look like scoring at any point. So that you would say we've just been much poorer. And I think because of this, the start was so bad, the players' heads have gone down and they haven't been playing quite as well and giving that maximum effort that you're quite right. They definitely did last season.
That tactic is so interesting, overlapping center backs. I find that to be like very interesting actually on like a football front. But the big question for me with like Sheffield for me is like obviously the biggest thing for me is like the appointment of the new manager. I think that has to happen like sooner rather than later, especially like to assess like the players. I think that is kind of important. But also like keeping players is also kind of important. Is that like a big issue for Sheffield like moving forward? Do you think?
Please don't call us Sheffield because that's not our name.
There's two of them, mate.
Well, the thing with Sheffield, it comes from Sheffield FC. So Sheffield FC started the game of football. So without Sheffield FC, we wouldn't even be here talking about this. So Sheffield FC is Sheffield. We are United. We're the first ever United. Every other United came after that. And then there's the other team Stephen's referencing, which is Sheffield Wednesday, which are just a non-entity in the city of Sheffield. But to answer your question, we don't have to sell. We don't actually have to sell anyone. Our owner has come out and said that. Financially, we're going to be in an okay position. But it's whether teams come in with big offers. If they do come in with big offers like 30 million, which is a lot of money for us, for someone like Sander Berge, and he has been linked with Arsenal, then yeah, he'll probably go.
Okay. I apologize for that. I actually didn't know.
Fine.
So
I correct everyone.
Every day, so I apologize.
I spend most of my life correcting people on the internet.
It's okay. So. He just lives a very long way away. It's just
people do it. People do it in the UK all the time.
Yeah, the thing I would say, I would normally going into this game, I would probably be very confident as an Arsenal fan that we could get the job done. But for example, we've played last few games. The Liverpool game, for example, our last league game. Now, if people watch back the watch along, I got really, really upset because of what happened with Claude and everything like that beforehand, and it really upset that the fact they put a performance like that in after such a thing, because Claude's always been a really good sort of. He was one of the reasons why this channel is now where it is, with the money we've raised, and yeah, so that really hurt because they didn't put an effort in. They just didn't fight. They didn't win second balls. They didn't press. There's just no work ethic there. They just didn't feel like they were bothered. The Slavia Prague game was a bit like that, but we did have chances, probably because Slavia Prague aren't as good as Liverpool, and that's probably why. But it's again still just as bad. If we play like that, even despite how Sheffield United have been this season, I still feel Sheffield United can still get a result if we're playing that bad with that sort of work ethic. Would you say that's like something that you could be positive about?
I mean, that warms my heart hearing that. I obviously hope we win. It doesn't really make much of a difference. We're going down anyway. But we've played really well in some games and still not got anything. We played really well at Anfield, for example. Just don't really create much. So even in that game, it took a penalty for us to get a goal. And we should have had another 2 penalties, but a referee's never going to give Sheffield United 2 penalties at Anfield, no matter how clear and obvious they are. So we weren't going to score more than 1. We got our 1, and then it was a case of, well, can you stop them at the back? We had Jack O'Connell out, we had Egan out, so we had to play Ender Stevens, who's a left back at centre back. He's only 4'8", and he was beaten by Jota in the air. We can't legislate for stuff like that, and that's how we've been getting beaten. So no, Arsenal just kind of need to turn up, play a third gear, and as long as you score a goal, you'll win. If you score first, you'll definitely win.
See, I feel like you let like 20 shots against like Leeds, right? Like and that's a pretty damning statistic, actually. 20 shots in a game is pretty damning. I think that could be like one of the I feel like that is probably one of the things like to look out for tomorrow. Is like we're going to have our chances, but the thing about Arsenal is like this year that kind of gives probably like Sheffield a little bit of like
whoa, we've done it again.
No, it's the fact that like our manager
Sheffield
has
thing. Let's go with United. That's fine.
Go United.
Oh, sorry, Sheffield United. Sorry, yeah. With Sheffield United, it's the thing is like our manager doesn't set up right half the time, so it can be kind of annoying for on our side. So like even if we have those shots, it's just the fact that those shots aren't really quality chances. So in that sense, like you guys could defend and pretty much take the game to us, just score 1 goal and pretty much like sit back, and it could happen that way too, like based on how the year's going.
I'd say that though, Bargo, but the problem is that we do get, when we have times where we are getting those sort of chances, and we sometimes in against the smaller teams get teams that we're playing so poor that we have like 1 shot on target or something like that, right? With only about 5 or 6 shots, because we're that poor. We're not like every time, for example, we go forward, We instead of putting the ball in the box, instead of playing that obvious ball for the middle that will cut the team apart, we play sideways. We play backwards. We play it round the back. We don't do anything with it. We don't take risks. And though if we do get those chances, it's the fact that we play strikers like Aubameyang and Lacazette who are so out of form that they won't score. Whereas if we played, for example, like Martinelli, and everyone in the league raves about Martinelli, everyone raves about Saka, but for some reason, Saka gets played every week. Martinelli, teams can't work out why he's not playing, especially if Aubameyang's so poor and Arteta's saying he wants to make him a striker. Well, play him up front because it's not like we're going to lose anything at the minute. We're not going to get top 4. We're not going to get Europa League. We're going to struggle getting in the Conference League next year. So why don't you take the risk? Take the risk of playing Martinelli up front. It's what we did with Henry when he came in. He was a left winger. We put him as a striker. And then it took 9 games to get a goal. And once he was off, he was flying. So, and we've seen Martinelli score these goals that Lacazette missed against Slavia Prague. It was an exact copy of Martinelli's goal at Chelsea, but yet Martinelli puts it away and Lacazette doesn't. So I just don't get with Arsenal, we might get chances, but we're playing players that won't take them. But yeah, I mean, next season, who would you like to see come in for Sheffield United as a manager to try and get you back into the Premier League?
We've never had a foreign manager, so it might be quite interesting for the first time. Most of our managers are from Sheffield or support the club, which is something we're very proud of, and we tend to keep our core of our squad British as well. That's more, I think, rather just happened as a coincidence rather than by design. But we do struggle to shop in the European market for players. That will actually probably benefit us with what's happening with Brexit. I wouldn't be surprised if we do, though, appoint a foreign manager, and it might be a slightly unknown. We'll wait and see, but perhaps someone from a lesser-known league, and we'll give him a chance. Might be the next Farker that we've seen at Norwich, and someone that could do great things. Perhaps someone who already plays a system like a 3-5-2, because that will have to remain, because we play that right throughout, from the top all the way down to our lowest academy. They all play 3-5-2.
Not Frank Lampard then.
I mean, Sheffield United won't attract a manager like Frank Lampard, even if you think he's a dreadful manager. It's not our style. We don't ever have names.
Okay. Yeah, Bargath, go on.
No, that is pretty kind of cool. That is amazing that you guys play 3-5-2, like all the way throughout the club. Like, that is pretty amazing, actually. Like, because most people tend to be really traditional with the same formations. You guys take some risks with that formation, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
What other priorities would you say you have, like, going forward? What other big priorities do you guys feel like you have?
It's such a hard question because, by the way, the reason we play that is because we weren't expecting Chris Wilder to resign. This was a Chris Wilder thing. He brought in the 3-5-2 and he instigated it through our very successful youth programs all the way up to the first team. And of course, we had no idea the season was going to be one that would take such a toll on poor Chris that he felt he had to resign so that they could hear a new voice and try and get things going. We all loved Chris Wilder. Sheffield United fans aren't fans that are reactionary. So if we're losing like we are, we didn't want Chris Wilder to go, because who better to get us back up than Chris Wilder? He's got so many promotions on his CV. If you didn't have Chris Wilder, you'd want Chris Wilder. So that's the reason we play it all the way through. Now, we've appointed Paul Heckingbottom as a sort of temporary manager, head coach, really. It's the first time we've ever had a head coach rather than a manager. And he's carried on playing the exact same team as Chris, the exact same formation. A little bit frustrating for us because you kind of think, well, you've got 8 games, maybe show what you can do and change things. He's not done that, and actually we're playing worse and conceding a lot more than we ever did under Wilder. So our priorities are probably finding a proper manager and actually maybe blooding some of that youth and getting out the players that clearly don't want to be there anymore and have almost down tools.
Yeah, I've done my Grand National. I've done mine for the... yeah, I liked Chris Wilder as a manager, to be honest. I think he was very well disciplined, was brutally honest, I remember one time where your keeper made a mistake that cost you, I think, a
Against
win.
Liverpool.
Yeah, and I felt for me it was a little harsh, right, for me. But then again, he was brilliant. It was brilliant because Dean Henderson then made no mistakes afterwards. And sometimes you might need that in the dressing room, but as well as that, it brings discipline.
Well, he
And
knows
I
his
feel that-
players. So he
yeah.
knew which ones he could talk to like that and which ones need an arm around the shoulder.
That's the thing. I don't think Arteta does that because I just feel that Arteta doesn't have that sort of ability to tell what players need to be talked to in a certain way. Same as I don't think he also knows what players are going to be good enough to keep at the club. Rather
Do you think
than
he's too nice?
at times, yeah, I do. I really do.
Well, Wilder
and I
was
think-
ruthless, so he definitely wasn't too nice.
But then Arteta, it doesn't help Arteta when he then comes in at the start and says, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna lay down the rules," and then you're bending the rules for certain players, and then you wonder why then the players like, well, if he's bending the rules for him, why am I getting the same treatment? And then
Yeah,
it
spot on.
sort of creates disharmony in the team, and then sooner or later you start losing the dressing room because it's not all the same way for every single person. But for me, it's just that with his squad management, you've got a squad there that's it's not 10th. If anyone says to me that squad's 10th in the league, right, they're lying. That squad's not 10th. That is good. It's not that good to be 10th. It should be better. So in that case, then you're not working and you're not getting the best out of what you've got. If you look at David Moyes, for example, he's got a squad that should be lower than us by a mile, but yet he gets the most out of his squad, and that's why they're still.
I don't know
now
if
with
you'd want
8
David
games.
Moyes though.
I know, but that's the thing. I always rated David Moyes for what he did at Everton. Yes, he had a bad blip against with Man United. It probably wasn't the right time, and especially the team was failing and falling apart anyway. But he was always a great manager at Everton, and he's doing the same with West Ham. He's overachieving with those clubs, and I just feel Arteta doesn't do that. He just doesn't have that sort of way with players to encourage the best out of them.
I remember a time when a lot of Man City fans were saying that Arteta was the key to their success behind Guardiola, and some were saying that he was more important than Guardiola, and maybe even he should replace Guardiola if...
Yeah, I hear that because Arteta fans can constantly go on about it. Like to try and... It's like they're running out of excuses, and I can't make any... You can't... No one can sit there and tell me any excuse that Arteta should be in that job right now. It really shouldn't, because it's not Arsenal's level. It's never been Arsenal's level to be this low, and it's heartbreaking when you see your team grow up and win titles. Right back in 2002, 2004, when I was growing up, to see it now, to even struggle to get in the top half of the league, and then see fans accept it because they want a manager to stay. It's hard to take as a fan. Obviously, I'm not going to know what relegation's like. I hope not. But the way the club's going,
might do.
But the thing is, the way the club's going, you see how Leeds were mismanaged. You see how Nottingham Forest was mismanaged. Newcastle,
big clubs. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then they were mismanaged, and look where they are now. Nottingham Forest are in the Championship. Leeds United only just been promoted back. Newcastle look like they're going to go down again. They've been up and down like a yo-yo. So that's what's going to happen. If you
your next appointment is your most important appointment, and I think that's exactly the same with Sheffield United. That's a similarity we're both going to have. The next manager is going to be the most important appointment we make, probably for the next 10 years for both.
Who would you say would be a best appointment for Arsenal?
I haven't got a clue. Nagelsmann, he seems pretty good.
Rafa Benitez?
No. I think someone like Julian Nagelsmann, because he's young and he could be with someone like Arsenal for 20 plus years. Rafa Benitez is going to be 70 soon. That's not long-term thinking, in
But
my
then, to be
opinion.
fair, when we got Wenger, when we got rid of Wenger, and there's also another reason I got rid of a manager who set the top 4. Why should I accept the manager who's going to finish 10th with no trophy? I also say, hang on, we got rid of Wenger and we all came and said we're not going to see a manager like that again that's going to stay 20 odd years at the club, right, and create such a long-term legacy, right? It's going to be probably 5 managers, 5 years tops. So
I just think there's no point appointing someone who you know is short-term. It's much more exciting to look to someone young who's got new ideas, I think, than someone like Rafa's a good manager, don't get me wrong, but he's been there and done it all already. I wonder how much motivation he's got, whereas someone like Julian Nagelsmann would want to come into the Premier League and show what he can do.
Graham Potter?
I know Graham personally. We both grew up in, well, I grew up in York when he was playing for York. And I went to the school next door to Bootham Crescent. I went to Bootham School. And I got to train and play with a number of York players. I got to meet Graham when he was a young player. Lovely man and very a studious coach. And he's, of course, gained experience in Scandinavia. I think he's got Brighton playing great football, but they don't score a lot of goals. And I'm not sure that is what you'd want to see at Arsenal.
Yeah, I do think the old Monaco is not managing. He got Monaco second and then to a Champions League final. That's a good shout, Jardine.
Jardine would be an interesting shout. Yeah, I don't know if he's got any interest in coming over to England or even if he speaks English.
Bargav, who would you take as a manager?
As a manager, Simeone would be the best bet, but he has to be willing, I guess, like to give up his position right now. And I think he's in a good spot with Atletico, so I don't know if he would actually do that. But he would be ideal, I think. Like, he would bring out the best in the players. The problem with our manager, for me, was I think with the whole like Man City thing, it's starting to show like maybe Pep was the one making all the decisions, and he was the one like player development wise, he was good at that. That's probably why the players love him. And but as far as like tactics and stuff, like he doesn't have that side of him yet. Because some of the decisions he makes is pretty shocking sometimes. But we'll see what happens. I think like the board are pretty much going to keep him. They don't want to pay the release clause, and they don't want to, but at least get the right people around him to guide him. I think that's what we should focus on, because I just don't see. I feel like they're going to stick with him because it's a project that they really believe in. But at least like get the right people around him to like actually like help him out, assistance wise. So that's my take on the whole coach thing. But we'll see what happens. Definitely the next year like is going to be very important. This next season, this transfer window, everything is going to be magnified this year. So it's going to be massive. So we'll see what happens.
It depends also what Arsenal are going to do in it. It's where people, fans that say that we're going to spend we're going to get 4 or 5 players in and some of the dead wood out. We've only got 2 players out really that are dead wood, and the rest are on loan, from what I know, and the rest are still at the club. But the problem I find is that if you've got £120 million loan you're going to pay up front to the government, and then you're going to try and give Arteta, he's going to need 200 million plus the way this team is to revamp it and put it in a decent state. It's not going to be possible. It's just I don't see where Arsenal fans seem to where they think this is money is going to come from, and that Arsenal are actually going to spend it, because Arsenal never do. They never have done and never will do. So, but it's just like believing in something that's not going to happen.
I mean, that's interesting, because I feel like both our clubs, like next appointments, we're in a similar spot in that sense. Our next appointments are critical. How do you guys see what do you guys see for the game this week? Like as far as like what it's going to be like, the actual game. Like I know Sheffield's going to play 3-5-2.
Done it again.
Sorry, it's 3-5-2. I have to like I'll remember that. Don't worry from now on. 3-5-2. with us, like, we don't have a false nine striker, so like attack like with a 3-5-2, I feel like a false nine striker would be amazing to have, but neither Aubameyang or like Lacazette is a false nine striker, and we could definitely do well, but it just depends on the lineup, I think. What do you think, Steven, on that? And what do you think, Hal?
I do feel I will play it like that. But again, it's Arteta will not do a false nine, for example. He will play his usual 4-2-3-1. He'll put his usual favourites on the pitch. No doubt will probably end up making some silly mistakes at some point during the game. It's either that he plays Partey and Jack, and we have dominant of the midfield, and then he'll do what against Slavia Prague. He'll give them the midfield by putting Tobias or El Nini on for Partey, which doesn't make sense. I didn't even get why he did that. If you're playing Sheffield United on Sunday and you're not going to get anything out of the league, why are you banking on that by taking him off when you know you're literally saving grace is the Europa League right now? That is literally your last chance alone, and don't have a go at everyone else because it's you that's put us in that position in the first place. Yeah. So, but how do you see it? How do you see it going?
It'll be a dreadful game. I think it'll be quite dull for the neutral. I would say that we will create one or two chances. We won't take them. Ollie McBurney, our kind of main striker, he's only scored one all season. I think, as I said before, Arsenal only need to get into third gear to have quite a comfortable night. I hate these late Sunday kickoffs. That's one of the things I'm most looking forward to next season. 3 p.m. on a Saturday again. That'll be fantastic. And just to answer that question about my favourite shirt, now that's this season's shirts that I don't like any of them, and they'll also be sort of stained with relegation. The other shirt is one from our last time in the Premier League, and the reason that one's up is I was interviewing Christian Nade, who scored against Arsenal when we beat Arsenal 1-0, 06-07, and that's the shirt he wore, so I put that one up. My favourite shirt is a Sheffield United one from 1992, because I'm much older than both of you. That is our laces shirt. It's got laces on the collar, and it's just an absolutely beautiful shirt with the quality Premier League patches, the old lion image. Love them.
Yeah, the first game I can remember with Sheffield United, it was in the FA Cup semi-final. I think it finished 1-0 to Arsenal in the end, with David Seaman making an unbelievable save.
Oh yeah, I was at that. That was at Old Trafford. Yeah.
Yeah, Old Trafford. That
was 2003. That's
2003. 2003.
Yeah,
FA
you are
Cup.
much younger than me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from that. I was born from '94 onwards. It's but that's the sort of the first game I can remember with Sheffield United, and it wasn't a bad game at all. But like,
well, we actually had the guy who had the header that Seaman saved was Paul Pesky-Solido, and we've had him on the channel as well, talking about that save. And of course, everyone thought it was in, and it should have been in. And actually, it's a dreadful header. And then Phil Jagielka missed the follow-up, and no one has a go at Jags for that. It was a terrible shot from Jagielka, a yard out, and he blazed it over the bar. That was a game where Graham Poll rugby tackled Michael Tongue as he had the ball in midfield, and it fell to Lundberg, who managed to score for Arsenal. And Neil Warnock was furious because the goal shouldn't have stood because the referee got in the way. And Graham Poll just laughed at him and walked off at half-time, the ball under his arm, delighted that Arsenal had won. We've had so many controversial games against Arsenal. There's also been the game at Highbury where Kanu didn't understand the rules, and we kicked the ball out for an Arsenal player that was injured. Arsenal didn't throw the ball back. We'd stopped playing. Arsenal scored. Should have let us go up the other end and score another goal, but instead offered to replay the game, which was a ridiculous thing to say because we had to go to Nottingham Forest on a Tuesday night and then drive all the way back to Highbury 2 days later to play Arsenal, who were then the Arsenal team, proper invincible Arsenal team. Very, very difficult.
But what would be your lineup tomorrow then?
Well, mine.
Yeah.
You never know who's injured. We've got so many players injured, so it's impossible. I mean, Baldock's our key right wing back. He had a concussion against Leeds, so whether he's got back from concussion protocol. Who knows? Baldock, he hurt his head as well. He's the backup for... Sorry, Bogle is the backup for Baldock, and Bogle hurt his head as well. So we might not have anyone who can play right wing back. Ender Stevens is in terrible form. Maybe Ben Osborne should play left wing back. He scored against Leeds. We don't know if Egan's going to be fully fit. We don't know if Basham's going to be fully fit. Jack O'Connell's definitely not going to make it. Jack Robinson is out injured, who could also play centre back. We're not sure about up front. Billy Sharp is out injured. He's our absolute talisman, our main man. In midfield, we've only got 3 midfielders. So if any of them get injured, we don't have any other choice. When we went to Old Trafford and we won there, we only had 3 fit players on the bench and we used all 3. This is why we didn't want more subs and we fought hard against that. So the team will be whoever's fit, and you might as well just get a tombola, stick your hand in it and pick out 11 numbers and just play those guys, because we don't have our first choice team. And if we did, and we had fans in the ground, we could maybe nick a 1-0. As things are, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. For me, as an Arsenal lineup, I can't tell what Arteta's going to do, to be honest. Tierney's out, which is a big miss. Big miss for us. Obviously, Leno in goal. It's going to have to be Bellerin on the right and Sergio on the left. This change is just awful. It's just awful. David Luiz is still out, so I'd put Mari and Gabriel, Partey, Elneny, and then this is how I want to see it. Is Pepe on the right, on the left, Saka on the right, Odegaard, not Odegaard, he's out, Smith Rowe in the middle. Well, actually, no, Pepe on the right, Smith Rowe on the left. No, so I'm getting confused. Right, Pepe on the left, Smith Rowe in the middle, Saka on the right, and then I'd put Martinelli up front for me. Because Lacazette or Aubameyang just aren't scoring. They just aren't going to score. But yeah. Bargav, what are you going to go for? Oh.
And it's going to be 4-2-3-1.
Say that again.
Yeah, so it's going to be 4-2-3-1. Predictable lineup, as always. But I'm more concerned I think our goals are going to probably come from either... I think Willian's probably going to start this game, as always, because not as always, but like this particular game, because I think ESR is a doubt, and I think we're probably going to give him some extra rest time. So our camp's probably going to be Willian. As far as like the rest of it, like, you know, I think Aubameyang's probably going to start this game. So that's going to be interesting. Is Ethan Ampudu going to start for Sheffield United?
Sheffield United, you did it. Yes, I like you more and more as the seconds tick on. Ethan Ampadu, he will almost certainly start on the left-hand side defence, because I think Jack O'Connell is not going to make it. So Ethan Ampadu will have to play left side of centre-back, which is not a position he's particularly comfortable in. He's sort of better as a holding midfielder, but we are so stretched that we will have to play him, I believe, at left centre-back. And Ethan Ampadu has been very poor in the early part of the season for us, and then quite good. But I would say he's the most overrated youngster, certainly that we have. And Chelsea fans keep telling me he's our best player. He's not our best player. He didn't even start against Leeds.
No, that's interesting. That's interesting you mentioned that, actually. Like, you think he's like the most overrated.
I want him to do well, don't get me wrong. I'd love him to be successful, and maybe we'll get him next season. And in the Championship, I think he'll be brilliant.
And what players should we be looking out for Sheffield United?
I would say, there you go again, all over it. I would say Didsey, that's David McGoldrick. I would say, John Fleck. And if he plays, Jayden Bogle, who has been our signing of the season. He is, I'll use a reference neither of you will get. He's a prime Vaspor Bokis. That is a 1997 Greek right wing back that we had, who used to always find himself in the box despite playing as a right wing back. So Bogle plays as a right wing back, but always finds himself in attacking positions, and we love to see it.
Great. Score prediction then. What are you going for?
I'll go last.
Okay. I would say 1-0 Arsenal. Bargab.
2-1 Arsenal.
Well, I love the thought that we're going to score 1. That would make me very happy. I'll take a 2-1 defeat right now. I think we're going to lose 4-0.
Oh, come on. Let's be a bit optimistic. Come on.
I've been beaten so hard by this season because it's been 24 defeats. We won't draw. We've only drawn 2 games all season. That's the lowest in the entire league, and will set a record if we only draw 2. It'll be a level record.
Well, actually, none of 16 last games for Sheffield United have finished in a draw.
We don't draw.
With 19 or longer. Now 20 or longer.
It was the same last season. We don't draw. So this season we lose. Last season it was we either won or we lost. Well, this season obviously it's just been lose. I started the season being really positive and doing lots of predictions like, we can win this game, we can cause a shock. After 24 times of being beaten down by saying we're going to win, my positivity has completely evaporated. We're going to lose 4-0. I've seen Sheffield United lose 6-0 away at Arsenal. I know this is at Bramall Lane, but without fans there, we lose that 12th man. So, yeah, I could see it being a cricket score. And I love cricket.
Well, Bargab, do you want to open the lines for 2 minutes to ask people have their questions?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. Let's do that. Let's open the lines up for you guys. You can come on and ask one question to the panel. I'll also just mention is that Arsenal have played more league games at Bramall Lane without winning and then at any other ground.
Oh, I love that.
Right. Last top flight win was in 1991 with Alan Smith and Kevin Campbell as the goal scorers. 24 Sheffield United's will be Sheffield United's 24 consecutive game at the bottom of the league. Only 6 teams with a longer run, which is being Villa, last being Villa.
Don't like that one so much.
Yeah. And then London teams, one of their have won each of their last 3 league visits to say Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. As many sides from London had won in their first 24 visits to the ground in the league. So, but then Sheffield United have been unbeaten all Premier League home matches against Arsenal. 1-2, drawn 2. The last 2 1-0 wins against in Sheffield in 06, 7 and last season. So, Chris,
remember them both.
What do you want to ask, mate?
I wanted to ask a question about Jaden Bogle, the right back. I've watched him ever since he was at Derby. So do you think that he can potentially be one of the best right backs in the league?
That's a great question. Yeah, he can. And he could go on, and he really deserves to be in the Premier League next season because he's that good. He's hardly played for us this season. He's been injured a lot. He's been very unlucky because, of course, one of our best players, George Baldock, started in front of him at right wing back. And it's not great when 2 of your best players are both right wing backs. So he's been forced to play left wing back on a number of occasions, and he's looked a little uncomfortable there, particularly at Man City away when he was very much exposed. But he's so exciting. Gets the ball down, drives forward, can put in a great cross, takes a nice set piece. He's got potential. And remember, I'm speaking from someone who saw Kyle Walker as a youngster. He's got potential to play right at the very top and maybe internationally.
Great question. Is there any plus? What's your score prediction, Chris?
I think under Heckenbottom, the Sheffield have been horrible defensively. I think it's going to be 3-0 or 3-1 maybe.
Chris, you were doing so well, and then you called us Sheffield.
I can't pronounce it.
Sheffield United. It's not hard to say.
How do you say it?
Well, like, you know, like United, like Manchester United.
I don't even know.
Whatever you don't call them Manchester.
The worst team in the league. I'll call it that.
All right, Chris. I liked you about a minute ago.
We'll teach you. We'll teach you. Don't worry. All right. Thanks for coming on, mate, and we'll speak to you later. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Cheers. yeah, we're gonna bring Charlie in. How are you, my friend? What do you want to ask?
First of all, I hope you're all right. I've got a question for all three of you. What's your favourite memory as an Arsenal or Sheffield United fan?
Well, mine is 2002, where we won the title at Old Trafford. So, but Hal, what's your favourite memory?
That's a great question. It's a tough one because, you know, I've never really seen us win anything. It's probably little things. Like sometimes it's just like being at games with my dad. You know, it's our thing that we do together. So there's been times when we've witnessed some great cup wins. We always do quite well in the cup. We never get to the final, but we often get to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, semi-finals of the League Cup. Even Stephen, you were referencing the game you remember at Old Trafford against Arsenal. Yeah, I'd probably say when we beat Coventry at home in '98 on penalties, it was a wonderful night. A replay. Coventry were a really good Premier League side back then. Dion Dublin, Darren Huckabee, Gordon Strachan as manager. Good side. And we put them to the sword because we're blades and beat them on penalties. It was a really long game. Went to extra time. I was a young boy. I had exams the next day. My dad let me stay all the way through the match. And we don't live anywhere near Sheffield. I never have. So it was always a really long trip home. I mean, right now I live closer to the Arsenal stadium than I do Bramall Lane.
Wow. But yeah, great question. But Bargav, sorry. Yeah, Bargav, what do you want to?
Yeah, mine is like just going toe to toe in like the Champions League with like Barcelona. I think those games are like the European nights that we used to have when, you know, like Wilshere is on his game. Those are some of my favorite memories because it's those were some of the best Barcelona. Those were some of the best teams of all time, and we were like going toe to toe with them, and at times we were beating them too. Like, I mean, we beat them at 2-1 at the Emirates, Barcelona wise, and sometimes like, you know, you had like the Robin van Persie like red cards and whatnot. Yellow. The second yellow because he kicked the ball. I mean, it's stupid yellow cards like that cost us the game. But I mean, those are some of my greatest memories. Yeah, like as an Arsenal fan. One question I have for Hal before we go: what's the atmosphere at Bramall Lane? Bramall Lane,
Stephen, what was yours? Sorry, I think.
Sorry, I've got to. It was 2002 when we won the title at Old Trafford.
It's a good one, to be fair. But the atmosphere is great. I can answer that really quickly.
Go on.
Yeah, right.
All right, cool. Yeah, because I've got loads of people in the background. We're going to bring on Say Arsenal fan. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How you doing?
Not too bad, my friend. What do you want to ask?
Yeah, first of all, how you feeling now that you're back home?
I'm feeling much better, thank you. Got myself out of hospital. I had to have 3 pints of blood, Albin. Because if how you don't know, I've had 6 liver transplants, and
wow.
Last week I had to go. Not yesterday, day before I had to go into hospital because I have to have infusions every week to keep me stable, and they had to put 3 pints of blood in because I lost a lot of blood. They were surprised I even walked in the damn door.
Wow.
It was that low. So,
well, I'm subscribed now, Stephen, so I'm going to be following your progress, mate.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, that's why we do the liver awareness show every week and do what we do. But yeah, I'm feeling much better now, thank you. But yeah, say how are you? Because you were in hospital as well.
Yeah, I'm feeling better as well. I actually had a bit of a problem with my liver, but it's getting better. So
cool. We could discuss that on the liver awareness show if you really want to raise that issue. So
yeah.
No but yeah, what do you want to ask, mate?
Yeah, where do you think you went wrong with Sheffield United and Chris Wilder? Because it seems to be, I don't know, the owner and Chris Wilder seems to be some issues there.
Yeah, there definitely is. You're spot on. I think the owner and Chris Wilder fell out. The owner, I think, wanted Chris Wilder to sign certain players, and Wilder is a bit against players that he hasn't found himself. So the owner came forward and offered, apparently, Chris Wilder players that have actually gone on to be very successful in the Premier League. And I think that's been a sticking point because the owner would have said, well, look, we could have signed these players very cheap and now they're doing fantastic things. 2 of them are at West Ham at the moment, allegedly. So I think that was something that rubbed both of them the wrong way.
Yeah.
Great question.
It was.
What do you want to ask, mate?
Was that to me? You cut out then.
Yeah.
Oh no! I
What?
just want to make a. I just want to make a comment
What
on the
was it
game.
about? What was it out to you?
No, it cut out. Your voice cut out when you started
Oh
speaking.
no,
so I think
it's
the first
to you.
bit-
Yeah, 2000.
Yeah, cool. I just want to comment on the game. I think I like Sheffield United. You know, I've got a soft spot for Sheffield anyway because that's where met the love of my life. So it's a soft spot there. And
We said we were going to keep that a secret.
oh yeah, are we live? Are we live? I thought it was off air. Come on, no, but I think the game. Yeah, I think it's not going to be an easy game for Arsenal. There's no doubt about that. It's not going to be a walkover. Sheffield are a proud club, proud players. I know they've lost the manager, but still, they're going to dig in. They're going to do what they think they need to do to try and get a result. But I just think that Arsenal will just have that little bit more quality and patience in the moments when it's needed, and I think that's how Arsenal will end up getting a result. I think so. I'm going to put it to. I don't think it'll be a lot of goals, but I'll say 1-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, relentless. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody, man? What's going on? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question about Chris Wilder. I'm not too sure if he got sacked or he decided to walk out himself, but what's your thoughts on Chris Wilder? How do you think his legacy will live on in Sheffield?
Great question, because he's now still not got a relegation on his CV. He tried to resign after we lost to Crystal Palace back in January, and that was rejected. Our ownership did not want him to go. He tried to resign again. I think when someone tries to resign twice, you probably got to say second time, okay, we'll listen to you now. So he resigned, but one of the reasons he resigned is he fell out with our ownership. So you could argue that it wasn't so much a resignation as a kind of parting of the ways, and it's all got a bit ugly. Our owner has come out and said some things about Chris. Chris has not said anything. He's kept it very quiet. Some people have looked at that as sort of a classy move. Other people have looked at it as the fact that he signed a non-disclosure agreement, so he can't say anything. It's a horrible way for it to have to end. He's a legend. He took us from fourth from bottom in the third tier, smashed League One, smashed the Championship, and then did big things in our first season back in the Premier League. Had it all gone right this season, he would have been, I think, taken by another club, and he'll go down as a legend, and hopefully we'll build a statue.
Oh yeah, can I ask one more question about the young lad that used to be at Liverpool, Ryan Brewster? Do you think he'll come good eventually?
Yeah, Ryan Brewster was a big signing for us, and he hasn't scored a single goal yet, and he's hardly had any opportunities either. Very rarely starts, and you think you spent all that money on him. Why are we not starting him? It's been very frustrating, I would imagine, as fans, but really for him. Also, because we create around about one chance a game, he doesn't have anything to feed off, and that's not his fault. He's not the kind of striker that's going to go back and get the ball from midfield and take on three men and shoot from sort of 20 yards. He needs the service, and I would imagine he's come through a Liverpool academy where he always had attacking players giving him service. So he's probably finding it a real culture shock. But he scored 11 goals in 22 for Swansea in the Championship. I think he'll score goals for Sheffield United in the Championship. We definitely won't sell him because no one will buy him.
Is he better than Nketiah?
I was talking to a friend of mine about Nketiah earlier today, and he would say yes. He's an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, great questions, guys. Yeah, I think if that's it, if anyone else want to ask one final question, I think we'll wrap it up there. Any more final questions?
I actually think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be a draw. I don't see us winning it, man. This club is in shambles, man. We're not winning. I think it'll be a 2-2.
Go on, talk.
No, yes, I didn't quite get the question about managers. Who do you want as manager for going forward?
I think it'll be an unknown. I really do. I don't think they'll go with Jokanovic. I don't think they'll go with someone like Bilic. I just don't see it. It's not a very Sheffield United appointment. I think it will be our first ever foreign manager, someone from overseas. Who knows? But I genuinely don't think it'll be a name that we all know. So we'll wait and see. And it probably won't happen till the end of the season. But if Heckingbottom gets another big defeat, it might happen sooner.
Do you not think though that the taste of the Premier League again after so long for the owners might just make them think it's worth taking a risk or two.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think you're spot on. I think they will take a risk. I think they'll go with someone who has done it maybe in a lesser league, but probably plays the same system that we already play. I think someone who plays 3-5-2 is really going to be crucial. They'll have to find someone who already plays that style, and that might not be that easy. There is a name that's being thrown around called Alexander Blessing. I don't know a lot about him. He's German. He's currently managing in Belgium. He might get the job.
Oh.
That's a good point. That's a good point with the 3-5-2, keeping that in place. Because I've always said, if when a club goes looking for managers, that changing the fundamentals of the team that you have, of what they do and do well and be successful at, is catastrophic. Unless you've got a team full of absolute world beaters who can just quite easily adapt and go, yeah, no problem, I can do that. No worries. No way, it's not going to work. We've seen it time and time again.
Right type of players as well.
No, he's spot on. Because then you've got to start. You've got to start all over again. Absolutely, makes sense.
Yeah.
But
listen, it's nice to talk to you, Hal.
You too, mate.
I'll look forward to
Sheffield United. We're gonna end it there. But thanks to everyone that's tuned in as well. This has been the Sheffield United versus Arsenal preview. Great to have you on. I think I've followed you on Twitter. I think I might need a follow back, so you can probably DM.
Stephen, one thing I want to say
in the future. Go on.
What do you think?
Hal, thanks for coming on the SFeatley community for the day.
Big
and remember, guys, it is Sheffield United. Always pronounce it right. Leave it there.
Yes, it's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
Where can we find you, Hal?
Be respectful. It is Sheffield United.
Yeah, where can we find you, Hal?
Okay, it's the Sheffield United Way on YouTube. We're also on all the social medias at the Sheffield United Way. We've got Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV joining us live at 5:30 this Saturday. We do watch-alongs as well, so we'll be doing the game as a watch-along. If you want to, you could dip in and dip out. Stephen, if you're doing one, I would recommend people watch yours and join us when Arsenal score, so you can see my forlorn face.
Yeah, I know Robbie from doing interviews on AFTV and that before. I tried to message him about the fact I was in hospital. So if you did see him, just tell him I said hello, and I hope you can try and get in touch with him at some point. Because I'd love to have him back. I'd love to. Though I've been on his channel many times, he hasn't come on my channel yet. So I'd love for him to get in contact at some point and come on my channel. But if you could, just tell him I said I.
Well, I mean, I messaged him about sort of 2 hours ago and I haven't heard anything back yet. So I say he's coming on ours. Let's wait and see.
Okay, he probably will.
Said he would.
He's a nice enough. Yeah, he's a nice enough guy. I really love Robbie. But thanks to everyone that tuned in. Relentless. I know you've got a channel. Where can they find you?
You can find me. I only have my first name on here, but you can find me at Relentless Sports Talk. Talk all things football, and I'm doing the show on Monday. Hopefully, I can get a couple Arsenal fans on. We're basically going to talk about Europe, chances in Europe. Talk about the game against Sheffield United, and basically just going to go over all things Arsenal. Should be doing it on Monday. I have to find the time, but if I do come up with a time, I will tell you guys so you guys can come out and check it out. So big up.
Yeah, let us know if you want to come on the Sundays watching on DM you the link.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, talk many. Where can I find you?
You can find me on Twitter at iTalkMU. Find me on SFeatleyTV. Find me on Football United TV, and you'll find me watching football if football's on. Simple as that.
And Bargav, where can they find you?
Yeah, you'll find me on YouTube and on SFeatleyTV, basically.
Twitter?
Yeah, I have like a Twitter, but I blog MMA and Arsenal stuff, but
okay.
Nothing really.
And as usual, you can find me obviously on SFeatleyTV, Football United TV, my Charlie's new channel, Dugout Daily. You can find me, here and everywhere, trying to help everyone else. But as well as Lucas channel and everyone else. But yeah, make sure to subscribe to SFeatleyTV. I think we're literally 4 or 5 away from the 1K, right? And the monetization we need to get donations to the charity. So please, everyone, like, share, and subscribe. All right, and we'll be back later on this evening for Banter the Rivals, where anyone can come on and just have a general banter with each other, right? So, but yeah, everyone stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you soon, because I think we're off to watch the Grand National. Take care.